Hi, today we're going to look into the SPL Tube Vitalizer, program equalizer, that I first time used at Gateway Mastering in the United States with the guru Bob Ludwig. It's maybe not the easiest unit to get started with, so that's what we're going to cover today. And it's definitely a favorite tool, what I like to use on the master bus, mix bus, or in the mastering. So let's check it out. Okay, let's dig into the unit and see how I use it when I start to use the unit. So this is my settings, how I start to work on the unit. So first of all, you see I have drive on 0, bass on 0, and I have no compression at all included in the signal path. Signal on the high frequency, high, mid, and intensity is set to 0. That means I will not have any effect of the high frequency coming into the signal path. Process level on 5. And I have no tubes included when I start. Sometimes I do, depend on if I want to use it in a way with more saturation, for example. So this is my starting point. And if you use one of the presets when you load the unit, this will be the setup for it. Okay, we will now dig into the bass bottom end with passive filter. First, we will look into the left side called soft, and we will look into what happened in the bass bottom end when you use the parameter bass. So let's start. So as you can see on the frequency, and pay attention most of this side here. And let us now, first of all, increase the process level so it will be easier to hear the difference here. So let's move the bass to the left side and check out what happened and also listen to it, especially if you have some headphones or good studio monitor. So you can clearly hear the difference here, what happened in the bass bottom end. And up to the right corner here, you can see it says 54 Hertz. There we see the peak for these. Let us now move over to the right side called tight. First on 0, reset, over to tight. And now we're going to include the passive filter with the coil and condenser in the signal path. So pay attention around 50 Hertz here and listen and look into the frequency analyzer here. And you can directly see the effect of the coil. This is a great way if you want to add a little bit of the punch around this area. So try these settings out. This was introduction to the bass, how to use these in your mixes. And I use it on mix buses, drum buses, and even on the mastering. Okay, we're now going to look into the high frequencies, and we have several buttons or knobs to work on here. So let's dig into it. So first of all, the high mid frequencies here is set to 1 kilohertz. So everything from 1 kilohertz and above will be affected on the settings, how much of the effect we want to increase to the signal path. If I go up to 22,000 Hertz, that means just give us a little bit silky smooth kind of thing. You would maybe want some vocals or in the mix. High frequency here, I should say, this filter is kind of also a transparency filter, and I have used it on old tapes that have been very cool result with. Intensity is how much of this effect you want to add into your mix. So let's just start to listen a little bit here. And we will start at 1 kilohertz, and I will bring up the intensity full so you can easily hear what the difference is. I never use it on full, but right now we will. And as you hear, right now we're only in the top end regions to affect the sound. We also have a passive filter, LC filter with a coil and condenser. So let's hear the difference here. As you can hear, a lot of difference what you can work and do with your mixes with that unit. I really like this unit, and I use it pretty often on mix buses, subgroups, or even in the mastering. The compressor. The compressor is a soft knee compressor that just play around with it and add it to your mix. So as you see right now, I'm running a little bit push to the bass in the tight side and also with the filter. And also I have the high frequency pretty, I should say a lot, but is this just how to show you a little bit how the bass comp and the high comp works. So we adding the bass comp first and just listen to it. So as you can hear, you can control the bass with using the bass comp in these. And as I said, as a soft knee compressor. So backing up, and let's do the same on the high compressor. So it's pretty easy to just control a little bit of the peaks here in your mix. That is shortly a little bit about the high compressor. Last part of the SPL is tubes and saturation. And when I'm doing a mastering, I'm using the attenuator settings, and I often have these full all the time. When I do vinyl mastering, I use it with tubes and LC filter. Not every time, but regular I like these kind of settings because you have a crossover as you have on the old vinyl and stuff like that. So I like this setting. When I want to crank and work with sound, makes drums dirty and stuff like that, I'm more over for the limit side and using the drive fully up plus 6 dB. And also, as you can see, I'm driving the input stage a little bit harder, and I have 3.5 dB increased on the input now. Let's bring up the process level and listen what happened when you working with sound design and stuff and you want to have distortion into it. So here you can definitely hear the distortion in the bottom end here. And depend on how you have your setting and stuff like that. If you think your mid and treble get a little bit dull, in that case, play around with the bottom's high frequency and intensity. That is a little bit about the tube section and how you can use it. Thanks.